Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. It's your old pal Jake, and this is a Friday bonus show. I've chosen to wear the busiest shirt possible. I didn't realize this pattern would be caught in the camera, and I apologize to those of you who suffer from a migraine that just doesn't go away today as a result. We had some stuff that just doesn't quite work for Friday Peace Talks, which is still tonight at 9. Bring your friends. But it's stuff that there are things we can do about, and I wants to talk about it. Thank you for joining me. Of course, I am your old pal Jake, and we are looking at a few, I guess I call them very timely things. Let's get it started, though, with some majority report. And we'll go in, we'll do the proper recording in a moment. I want to talk about their guest today. Oh, my God. I have such bittersweet feelings. They had Hassan Piker on the majority report today. And I skipped it. But because I honest to God, Hassan Piker is up there with Matt Gaetz as one of two people who I reserve the right to act unprofessionally around. If my career on YouTube ever brings me in contact with either of these See You Next Tuesdays, I reserve the right to throw it all away to knock out some of those goddamn teeth. Because he was very pro-Putin in the beginning of the Ukraine war. I don't know how he stands now because he hasn't made a big deal about what a moron he was. But yeah, he's a bad person. So I chose to skip that. But on the other hand, he's got a massive audience. I'm so happy for the majority report getting those big polls, even if they're people who I think don't deserve to take up space on this planet. Still, I'm happy for the majority report. So let's look at some majority report. Not from today. Let's look at them talking about the Rutgers strike. And I'll do a proper intro. Hold up. Let me record this puppy. The going out. There we go. Recently on the majority report, there was a guest who was one of the teachers who's striking at Rutgers, or a representative of the Union of Teachers that is striking at Rutgers University. Let's just jump right into it. It was the M-Majority report this week with Emma Vigeland carrying the show herself as Sam is out for vacation. Let's look at what they said, and especially how we can help.
Let's talk about something that's happening here kind of in our own backyard, in my home state, Bradley's home state, Rutgers University. We are hoping to, and in the midst of trying to book someone from the union to come on to talk about this massive strike this week. But 9,000 professors, part-time lecturers, other workers in the union, grad student workers, at New Jersey's State University. That's Rutgers. I know, like it's not University of New Jersey, but that's basically what it is. For people that might not know, it's a massive institution within the state of New Jersey. They're on strike, and this is the first action in the over 250-year history of Rutgers. It's enormously important. 3 unions are striking together on this. The Rutgers AAUP, AFT, they represent the full-time workers, full-time faculty, grad workers. The adjunct union as well, which represents the part-time lecturers, and the a bunch of other acronyms. I'm sorry, my notes are not as clear, but
just a little union foo. Strikes are way more effective when you can get multiple unions involved. So if you're looking to do a strike. If you're trying to work out the logistics of that, trying to figure out how much pressure can we put on at once so that we are not running out of our own resources faster than the thing we're striking against is running out of theirs. Try to get multiple unions on board. By the way, if and when it comes to a general worker strike, the way to do it will be to start by contacting unions all over America and telling them, we need you to be part of this. So bear that in mind. This is good for future planning.
They also represent the biomedical and health students and workers, faculty, I should say, at Rutgers. So all of these three unions working together, striking. And in the lead up to the strike, the president of the university, Jonathan Holloway, sent out a letter publicly saying that the strike would be illegal. And people were like, what? And then they did it anyway, because you have the right to exercise your labor power in this country, and there was no real state law that he could point to. Apparently, he reiterated it in an email today, saying that they would have to take legal action, potentially, if there would not be an agreement in the near future. Now, Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey, who was a former Goldman banker, but he's kind of in the Pritzker model of, like, really rich guy who's ending up being a better, more progressive governor than anticipated, although let's be clear about his limitations. He, in this instance, though, unfortunately, did intervene or actually, fortunately, I should say, intervene to make sure that Rutgers did not take legal action to block the strike. So that's a good thing. And now apparently he's brokering some sort of talks here. So this is some footage yesterday of the strike on campus, and you can see the demonstrators chanting at Rutgers.
Anyway, so let's see if we can send them a message. So I'm going to say no contract, and you all are going to say no peace. And let's make sure that the folks in Winans Hall and the little fancy spot over there can hear us. Okay? Let's see what we can do. No contract.
No peace!
No contract.
No peace!
No contract.
No peace!
No contract.
No peace!
And then here's this great image that was caught, I believe, by some. We'd had Eric Blank on the show before, I think, but this taken by Eric Blank of these frat guys at Deke, Delta Kappa Epsilon. Hey, I had a Deke at my college.
Don't be a scab, bro. Don't cross the.
I'll be real with you. I never had much patience for frat guys back in the day, but I'll tell you what. Those old boys right there. Those fellas right there. Those are some good lads. Look, it just occurred to me that this is a thing we could do, but I don't know about the legality of sending them a case of beer. But I'm sure those college fellas would appreciate a pizza pie from whatever local establishment delivers. Even if you don't, if you just got a few bucks that you can put towards a pizza, I think they ought to know there's some right proper lads. Good lads. I'm going to send them a pizza later. I'm going to figure out a place near them. I'll put it on the community tab. I'm sending them a pizza and telling them, good lads. I love to see that.
Picket line, bro.
They like showing solidarity, fists in the air, frat guys for supporting labor here. Now,
I mean,
you could take a real cynical take and be like, well, that's because they get out of class. But at the same time, I'm not sure if that's the case. I don't actually feel that way. It just is really amazing that I think there's a level of labor solidarity amongst people under age 30 right now that is being consistently underestimated by people in power. But that's a wonderful, wonderful image there.
What jersey is that on the bottom right?
That's a Bucks jersey.
So it's probably a Brady jersey, I imagine, right?
Well, it's a 0. Pull it up again. What do we see in here? No, it's 50.
50? Oh, I don't know.
Is that Vita Vea?
That would be I mean, this is the
That's a cool jersey to have.
This is such a classic. I mean, you obviously have the classic garish Rutgers jerseys.
It is Vita Vea. Look at how smart I am. I knew that Vita Vea is number 50.
Ding, ding, ding.
All right.
And the Raptors jersey, the garish 90s throwbacks. This is maybe the best frat pick I've ever seen.
It's a total frat pick, right? I mean, like, exactly. Vintage jerseys, bros hanging out on the lawn on a nice day. Yeah.
Let's go, boys. Let's go strike, boys.
Sitting on the roof.
So, for the record, I just realized this is not, of course, contain the interview. That is, however, linked in the description. I should be clear. This is just a summary of what's going on. But the interview is linked in the description, and in about 120 seconds, we're going to discuss what you can do to affect this. But let's just enjoy for a moment the fact that these frat fellas, and in fact the community as a whole, is behind the unions here. Hell yes. Oh, I feel the stars and stripes. I hear a mighty red-tailed hawk calling, which is what Americans think an eagle cawing sounds like. I'm feeling it, is my point.
But that's really a great image, and does show a level of class consciousness among young people that even when I was in college, you would never have seen frat guys. And I went to maybe a more conservative school, but you would never have seen frat guys supporting strikers and unions.
I saw someone tweet basically to that same effect, basically being like, I think we can't necessarily understate, and this is obviously just one picture, but I mean just in terms of what we've seen all across the country, in terms of voting and in labor, like truly how much further to the left younger people have swung, even since, like you said, even since 2016, even. It is like there are current circumstances from like those 7 years. I think it wasn't even just Trump or anything. I think it was also like truly seeing the failures of American capitalism over and over again.
And Bernie
have actually radicalized these young kids to have this, like you said, this type of class consciousness. So, and even like you said, even if it's for them just wanting to get out of class, they still wouldn't have to necessarily get signs and like support it at all.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I think that there is going to be a groundswell of pro-labor politics in maybe 10, 15 years, and I know that's way too long to wait, but when some of this generation begins to, Gen Z too, begins to take power there, that's Gen Z, right? Gen X is ahead of us? Yeah. We're millennials. Or at least I am. I'm a millennial. You are Gen Z, are you not? So are you?
I think I'm like the tail end millennial. Actually, I can't. I was born in 1996, so I'm not sure if that's.
Yeah, no, you are. So you get to speak for this generation. That's the case.
I'm a geriatric Zoomer.
The point being is just good on those students, and solidarity with the Rutgers strikers here. We'll be having more on this later in the week when we're hopefully going to be able to get some of the strikers on.
And they did. And it was a good interview. That's linked in the description. But that's a good overview of what's going on, what the temperature is like there. So what can you do? I mean, these teachers, yes, they're not just, I say teachers, but I'm trying to not say professors, because they're not just striking for more pay. They're striking for things like the rights of all the support staff and the rights of the associate professors to be paid fairly. And they're striking for more family leave, and just generally being treated like human beings that have value and purpose and lives and are allowed to live the people that should be allowed to live them. It's bizarre to me that a strike was ever necessary for such things, but it surely was. So, what can you do? Well, link in the description. Per the advice of the member of the union. It's a slightly different setup. I apologize. Per their advice, you can, number one, contact the governor. Tell him support the union. He's been good. It's what is it? It's Phil. The hell's the governor of New Jersey's name? Phil Murphy. You can contact him on that page. Select the topic education. Select the subtopic New Jersey colleges and universities, and say, "Look, I side with the teachers. I expect you to as well." And if you're from outside of New Jersey, say if you want a future, getting voters outside of your state supporting you, say for a thing that might involve needing people from other states to vote for you, well, the way to get my vote is to impress me right now by siding with Rutgers. Siding with Rutgers teachers. If you're in the New Brunswick area of New Jersey, get on out there. Go march with our pals in the union. Go march with them. If you're in the New Brunswick area, make a day of it. Get you some fancy sunglasses. Get some sun and fight the man. Get on out there. And finally, you can donate to the Strike Fund. This is the fund being run by one of the unions that will help cover expenses for folks that are striking. It will help deal with the finances that are necessary. You can donate to that fund. Link in the description. Mercy me. I don't just love seeing victories. I love seeing a well-fought fight. And this is one of them. And it inspires me. We got a bright future going forward. Because suddenly the left has teeth again, and oh, baby. I love to see it. Oh, well, how's everyone doing today? Let's have a look at the live chat. Mars Falcon, I watch Majority Report from Mr. Cedar. The rest of it hurts my brain. Not dissing, just getting nothing from the others. I saw they had Francesca on, though, and she always brings me hope for the world. Yeah, for sure. I really like Emma Vigeland. Full disclosure, I didn't at first because I was still missing Michael. I was perhaps judging her unfairly, but I've come around for Emma Vigeland, and yeah, the rest of the gang I like as well. But yeah, I hear you. Sam Cedar he's a once in a generation talent. I mean, come on. Rustbox, good to see him. Mars Falcon, that frat is going to get double secret probation from Dean Wormer for backing the strikers. We have to send him support. Yeah, I'm not sure about the legality of, say, sending a case of beer from a local liquor establishment. I certainly wouldn't recommend doing that here on the internet, but what I will say is there's got to be a pizza place near them that can deliver to their frat house. I will look for the address of their frat house, and I will send them a pizza. They will get at least one pizza from your old pal Jake, because my God, I'm tickled. I'm tickled. The kids are all right. They really are. All right, so I've been kicking around this right now for a couple of days. I wanted to show this to you. I think it's a good example of why, as bad as things are, they are not as bad as they seem. And that's a poor way to put it. Because, I mean, they really... All right, I take that back. They really are as bad as they seem. When we have neo-Nazis out there when we have white nationalists working for presidential administrations in the form of Stephen Miller, yeah, things are bad. But it is encouraging to see that it's not only the left that sees it. And I'll explain a little bit more in the intro here. So as bad as things seem right now, remember this. It's not only the left that sees this craziness. We had Stephen Miller, an actual proud white nationalist. He'd be ashamed of ever having held such beliefs, but this guy is proud of his white nationalism. Tucker Carlson's talking about white nationalism. Why is that a bad thing? I'm just asking questions. On national television. Things are bad. But don't take the, what do they call it, the black pill? Don't engage in doomerism. Because we're not the only ones that see it. And the only time we get a definite, real update on what America's been looking at is every 2 years during elections. Well, guess what? America sees what's going on. Here's CNN, a rather right-leaning these days news channel, giving us a little more detail about it.
Dueling decisions on one of the main drugs used in medication abortions. First came the ruling by a federal judge in Texas scrapping FDA approval for the drug mifepristone. But less than an hour later, a federal judge in Washington state ruled to protect access to the drug in 17 Democratic-led states and the District of Columbia. Those two decisions are the most significant abortion rulings since the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, as we all remember, last summer. It sets the stage for abortion rights to be a leading issue in the 2024 campaign. And talking about this more with us, joining us now, CNN's senior political analyst John Avlon and CNN political commentator and host of PBS Firing Line, Margaret Hoover. Guys, great to see you as always. We appreciate it. John, this issue really motivated Democratic voters.
I saw they were wolfing around a little before the segment got started properly. Having fun. Good for them.
In 2022. But it seems to be a battle that a lot of conservatives want to keep having, even though it might not be the best thing for their own political health. What do you think?
I think the message the voters keep seeming to send is it's the extremism, stupid. I mean, this is Republicans have a significant win from their perspective in removing a constitutional right to an abortion. But most voters look at this and say 70% of Americans believe it should be safe, legal, and rare, and basically in line with the previous status quo. And yet, taking the win, their judges keep taking down abortion pills, pushing for a national ban on abortion. That's the position that some maximalists in the Senate have taken. Some people running for president, and so there's a sense that this goes against common sense and individual freedom in a fundamental way where people feel right has been taken away. So as long as Republicans keep pushing for a maximum.
One thing to remember, if you ever start to get bummed out, is this moment right, y'all. Let's compare it to the biggest win that lefties got that equates to this, the most similar win. What did they get? Gay marriage made legal. What did people's lives become after these decisions? In short, it breaks down to this. When the left wing gets a victory, people's lives get better. And the people that aren't happy about the victory, their lives don't get any worse. They don't. There's nobody in this country right now who can say, my marriage is cheap now. I don't even think my marriage matters because these two homosexuals got married down the street. I mean, I'm sure there's people that do say that, but they can't say it in good conscience. They know their marriage is fine. They feel no different about their own arrangement because a couple of gay people got married. However, when the right wing wins, people suffer. And in states right now where abortion has been criminalized because Americans' rights got taken away, people are having a miserable time. People are dying, as a matter of fact. When the right wing wins, they still lose because they advertise their ideology for the world to see. America gets a taste of what the right wing wants, and they do not support it anymore. Whereas when America gets a taste of what the left wing wants, it just becomes normal because it's fine. It helps people generally, at the very least, doesn't hurt anybody. When I say we will always win, that's why. And we will always win. The game for the lefties is just minimizing the hurt until our inevitable victory. Because, baby, we are going to win every time.
Position. You're going to see a pushback from folks who had previously been silent on the issue because they thought it was settled law, which it was, until 3 Supreme Court justices reversed themselves.
Yeah, and Margaret, I mean, last year it was described as the dog catching the car, but it seems like they want to keep catching the car.
Jim, there is no issue. I think even Donald Trump, where Republicans are more in denial about the negative effect this is having on the party and their viability to win elections at the state level, at the federal level. I mean, this issue, when Roe v. Wade was overturned, for example, and we went on to see really the bloodletting of the 2022 fall election cycle results, which should have been a tidal wave of Republicans into the House of Representatives and turned into what became 5. Not a single conservative editorial page, not a single conservative commentator was able to admit or recognize that, and we have now data to prove that it was the Roe v. Wade overturning, it was the Dobbs decision that overwhelmingly impacted the women coming to the polls, suburban women coming to the polls. And there are some Republicans who are willing to recognize that publicly, very few.
When Republicans win, people see what they were fighting over, and they don't like them anymore. They cease supporting those things. Whereas when Democrats win, support for what they were fighting for just gets stronger. Guitar Dog says Greg Abbott talks about freedom and small government, but won't let me buy legal weed. Brother, next Thursday, I am going to do a stream that is based around Proposition number 1 for 2018 in Michigan, which is how I wound up. I can't even show you the thing. Which is how your old pal Jake wound up with just the best sleeping aid I've ever had, which is a big old fatty at the end of the night. We're gonna celebrate big time, and whether it is legal yet in your state, it's inevitable. Whether it's legal yet in your state or not, I invite you to join the celebration in whichever way you feel is appropriate. It's next Thursday that we're going to have this stream. And I'm going to talk about, well, very much impaired, I'm going to talk about sort of a challenge stream, how you can make weed legal in your neck of the woods. Actually, not as hard as you think. We got a ton in 2018, a ton of right-wing support. There's a strong case to be made. It is the modern oil. It's a massive financial boon to the state. We'll talk about it this Thursday. How's that for a plug?
Representative Nancy Mace from South Carolina, for example, or a pro-life Republican who's willing to say this position is killing the party. But there's a stranglehold on the party with this one issue. The special interest simply cannot let go of its chokehold. Yeah. And that's Republicans are going to keep losing if they're not able to meet the country where it is.
Yeah. And this John, is what pisses people off about politics. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And John, I mean, speaking of that, in a different state, in Tennessee, the decision to expel those 2 young black lawmakers for taking part in a...
Acosta looks baffled. Acosta's like, well, what is this? What's going on here with you two? I kind of got a little atmosphere here. I can't put my finger on it. What is this? But he's talking about serious stuff. All right, let's jump to it. By the way, when this came out, when this clip first came out, those 3 were at a low point. And now, baby, they back. Every one of them is back in the Tennessee legislature. We did a bit on this yesterday. We did a segment on this yesterday. Go have a look. They're back, and they are stronger, returning, literally, in terms of the power they hold, like in terms of the written into law power that they hold. They are stronger than when they were kicked out. So that the Tennessee folks that booted them can go themselves. They brought it on themselves entirely. It's a delight to see.
Protest over gun regulations, gun reform. Representative Gloria Johnson, who is white, she survived expulsion by 1 vote. I tried to ask a fellow Democratic lawmaker earlier this hour about this. He didn't want to go down that road and say, well, it was because of race that these 2 were expelled while she was not. What do you think? I mean, it just doesn't, it certainly feels like that. It certainly played a role in it. It played a part in it. I mean, how can you deny it?
But that's what she said on CNN the other night.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll take her word for it. But again, it's an example of the self-defeating politics on the Republicans' part, where they've elevated these 2 young men. They'll probably be put back in the state legislature. There's a reasonable good chance for that. But it's also about this creeping reluctance to embrace representative democracy. I mean, you've got, you know, in a city and a town and a state reeling in the wake of a horrific mass shooting at a school. And instead of taking any action at all, they try to punish the lawmakers who are protesting with the people outside. That's about shutting down debate, not being responsive to people's needs.
And for a party that's going to wrap itself in the Constitution, I mean, the Constitution and legislative branches, as designed by the founders, are by definition designed for the process of bargaining and negotiation, for having an opinion and having that opinion refuted. These lawmakers spoke their mind, had a peaceable protest, peaceably assembled, as the First Amendment says that you can, and their speech was shut down. They were punished for it. That is not how the Constitution is supposed to work. And it's.
Are you saying it's not a free speech issue?
Okay,
it's
weird. It sounds like cancel culture, but to the extreme.
Yeah.
If you've been watching this show for a while, man, this shirt is something, huh? Good Lord. If you've been watching this show for a while, you'll be familiar with my theory on CNN, which is that they're taking advantage of what they see as a opportunity here. They're going to try to steal Fox's audience, but they're trying to steal Fox's audience from 2010. How can I adjust this? From like 2010. They're trying to grab the Republicans that are like the on the local community business board, like the town's business council. That's who they're looking to get. They're trying to get the people that genuinely believe in small government and yada 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 yada. And I'll tell you, good. Those folks should have opinion shows as well. I will probably end up disagreeing with most of those opinions, even though once upon a time I would have been all about it. But good. They should be able to get that perspective without also hearing QAnon insanity. So more power to you in that regard, CNN. Just don't start lying, or your old pal Jake's going to come at you. He's gonna come at you hard.
Right. I mean, I jest only because if I don't.
It's
know
well,
what
And
else
the
are you gonna
emotions
do?
were
I mean,
so raw. The emotions were so raw in Nashville. I mean, one would think it would be easy to understand why some folks would want to protest, and some state lawmakers might want to join those protesters. I mean, that to me, I think, kind of got lost in this whole thing, is this terrible, terrible, awful tragedy that took place in Nashville. Of course, people are going to be fired up about that sort of thing. But I want to ask you.
Wicked Foxy Dragon says, I think they call them rhinos now. Yeah. That wouldn't be a bad way to rebrand if the Democrats don't actually absorb those Republicans, which is what I think will happen. Yeah, they should call themselves the Rhino Party. This is kind of a kick-ass symbol to have, right?
About one more thing, guys, and that is, I mean, there's
Serious question. What animal should MAGA adopt when it makes its own party? Like a decrepit turkey?
so much that has happened since last Tuesday. It feels like maybe a couple of years ago, but it was just several days ago that Donald Trump became the first current or past president to be indicted and arraigned. And I just wonder, doesn't this continue to be good for Trump in the party, in the Republican Party, but terrible in the general election?
Well, it is. I saw my husband. I'm doing a side eye right here because I saw him make a funny look. The truth is, you're right, Jim. This is good for Trump in the party. It has solidified his front runner status with the Republican nomination right at the moment. I mean, that's what's happened. He's raised $7 million in the last week. 25% at least of those dollars are new dollars. And the base of the Republican Party seems to really be rallying around him and doing an us against them, the Department of Justice, rule of law against Trump. It's a bizarre turn of events, but it's real.
Well, for now, it's a reaction. Yeah, it's a reaction. Let's be real about that. And to your point about, Trump's resurgence being, a poison pill for a general election, one of CNN's new poll showing only 26% of independent voters approve of Donald Trump. Over 60% thought an indictment was justified. Only 8% said it had no merit at all. Those are independent voters who end up making the decisions in general elections. So, the party, he may thrive on the oxygen of attention, but if that moth keeps going to that flame, it's going to be burnt to a crisp.
Right. And with other potential indictments coming,
if that moth keeps going to that particular flame, it's going to be burnt to a crisp. Ooh, baby. Brutal and true. Delightful. Freedom, says Mars Falcon, means banning things my poor interpretation of this 2,000-year-old book make me hate to a right-wing American. Small government means nothing for the needy. Yes. There it is. Let's look at Franny P. Negative. All right. Yeah. It just absolutely going to be a horror show for Republicans in the coming days. What you can do, let's jump right to for the most part, what you can do is let them suffer. These are greedy con artists. These are thieves in the age of the internet, where information flows freely, and they will be seen for what they are. Now, individually, for these problems, we go down the line. We do segments every single day here on Wicked dealing with this. We'll attend to them. But for the most part, this is an update. What does America think of all this madness? America doesn't like it. So we're going to need to do our part when 2024 rolls around to get everybody out there. But in the meantime, there really are people that need abortions that can't get them right now. If that's you, I don't give a damn if it's illegal or not in your state. To quote a wise man on the internet, if there are legal consequences for saying this, give me peace. Come on now, give me peace. Don't make me beg. Thank you, Fredo on TV. So, people who need medication abortion can use the link included in the description of this video to aidaccess.org, which will send you medication abortion. Again, I'm not sure if it's on a state-by-state basis that they'll not send it. But to my knowledge, the last I checked rather recently, within a couple of weeks, they will send it to any state. So, aidaccess.org. If you need an abortion or somebody you know needs an abortion, use the link in the description. And by the way, if you're from one of those states that wants to go after people legally for offering that, I reiterate, give me peace. I think we'll have fun with how that goes. Give it some thought. Oh, one day, one of these jukes is gonna get one of those itchits to bite, and I can't wait. Oh, I tell you, there is a few ways that this channel goes out beautifully. One of them is that we get a huge channel like the Majority Report of the David Pakman Show just to utterly destroy us by taking this bit and of telling you what you can do. Neat. That would be wonderful. The other way is that I am in court so often fighting these punks that it just has to become a channel about updates on the court cases. I can't wait. I don't think it's likely. I think I could throw pebbles all day and they wouldn't notice, but maybe. Share it with your most insane friends. Share it with your most litigious friends. Oh, God, I truly hope. Well, we got one more for you, dealing with the class of people we're talking about. Mars Falcon says, most likely Skynet was temporarily using my laptop to send instructions to ChatGPT. Oh, gosh. Yeah, everybody else doing the same thing as me, looking at top chat instead of live chat so they couldn't see Franny P. Now I'm going to try to find Franny P. I see you, Mars, says Franny P. Good to see you, Franny. Glad you're here. Sorry we didn't see you earlier. Skynet got us all. Oh, Rustbox. What's up, baby? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see all of you. All right, we got one more for you. I think y'all are gonna like it. You see, every accusation by the GOP is a confession, and we're gonna record this here intro again. Every accusation by the Republicans is a confession. Case in point, Donald Trump is saying, oh, the FBI is corrupt. They're coming after me. This is a misuse of the Justice Department. Well, then we find out, oh, look, he used the FBI to go after his political enemies. And, oh, look, he covered up his own crimes with the help of Bill Barr. Oh, look. It's a misuse of the Justice Department. However, it doesn't start and stop with Trump. No. No, it's the whole Republican Party. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This here is from the Argus Leader, and it's talking about one of the most common phenomena that occurs. A Republican politician turns out to be a diddler. Joel Koskan, who ran for South Dakota Senate, pleads guilty to 2 counts of felony incest. This is written by Annie Todd in Sioux Falls. Good job, Annie Todd from the Sioux Falls Argus Leader, Joel Koskan, who ran unsuccessfully for state senate in 2022 and days before the election was arrested on charges relating to child abuse, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of felony incest Tuesday morning. He was sentenced in a Hughes County courtroom to 10 years in the South Dakota clink. This is the first part of the healing process, Judge Margot Northrup said during the hearing. Koskan, 44, that's a rough 44 years. Good God almighty, he looks 67. Koskan, 44, originally faced felony child abuse charges for acts that allegedly took place between October 2014 and October 2016, according to courtroom documents filed in November. He exposed his victim, a now 20-year-old woman, to sexually grooming behaviors. So if we can do a little math on there, this began 9 years ago. So she was 11 years old at the time. In a probable cause statement, misspelled, but oh well, reviewed by the Argus Leader prior to its sealing in November, the victim was Koskan's family member and had been allegedly sexually abused by Koskan since the time she was a child. Koskan allegedly made references to GPS tracking and video monitoring the victim's activities. A special agent with the South Dakota Criminal Investigation with the South Dakota Department of Criminal Investigation recommended charges of rape, sexual contact with a child younger than 16, and aggravated incest. And we're not going beyond this. As part of Tuesday's hearing, and as part of the new plea agreement, Koskan would plead guilty to 2 counts of felony incest, pay a $10,000 fine for each count, court fees, and provide restitution for the victim, included in the original plea agreement, rejected by Northrup in March. Now, in case you're thinking, oh, wait a minute. Now, Jake, what you're doing right there, what you're doing there is you are picking and choosing what you want to talk about. You're picking and choosing an instance where it turns out somebody who did something gross was Republican. And you know what? You might be right, except this is what you can do. Here's a 32-part article. A 32-part article by the Daily Cause, which is constantly updating. I mean, it's been going on for at least over a year now. And it's simply instances of the GOP, of Republicans, being diddlers or covering up for diddlers. And this is what you can do about it. You can share this with MAGA folks. You will inevitably, if you get into a political talk with MAGA folks, you will inevitably hear them talk about protecting the children. Show them this and make it clear that Holdenville City Councilor Richard West, a Republican, was convicted of possessing child pornography and soliciting a minor, a child he met at age 12. He was a member of Bikers Against Child Abuse. Virginia Attorney General Jason Myers accused Democrats of being soft on pedophiles in his campaign. Just 2 months into office, he made a plea deal with a pedophile cop, dropping one of the charges. The Virginia Grand Old Party denied there ever was a plea deal. But it's public, and it's dated March 3rd, 2022. Sandy Smith, GOP primary candidate for North Carolina's 1st District, has been accused of domestic violence by 2 ex-husbands. Trump-loving black MAGA man and former Democrat and former state representative Vernon Jones was accused of RAPE 17 years ago, but the woman dropped the charges, she claims, out of fear. Elon Musk, who recently announced he became a Republican because Dems support workers, was accused of exposing himself to a SpaceX flight attendant. The attention-seeking Archbishop Corleone, who banned Pelosi from communion, also refused to disclose dozens of known pedophile priests' names, failing to protect the public from them. Anti-gay, anti-abortion pastor John Lowe of New Life Church confessed to adultery, but the woman came forward and clarified that she was a child of 16 when he began sexually assaulting her. The church embraced the pastor. Ronnie Floyd, Trump lover and Arkansas pastor, you'll find there's a hell of a lot of church folks on here, was the executive committee chief of the Southern Baptist Convention. Oh, you know this is going to be gross. Not because he was angry that they were covering up sexual assault and child molesting and more, but because they voted to waive attorney-client privilege to allow the investigation to go forward. He's the enabler in chief. I'm going to pick a rando one. Let's just go Scott Hughes, former United States Pentecostal pastor, was charged with 12 felony counts of child sexual assault from his time at Apostolic Worship Center and Evergreen Christian Academy. Show this to MAGA voters. Show this to MAGA voters. And make it crystal clear that they support diddlers. Because they support diddlers. When you have people that don't give about other people's rights in office, like as a matter of policy, they don't really care about what's fair, they don't care about ethics, they don't care about people's rights. They don't have empathy. Well, yes, that group's going to be much more likely to commit these kinds of crimes that require you not give a damn about the other person at all. Understand who these people are and make it clear to the people that would support them who they are as well. Share that article, link in the description. Let's have a look at what the Wicked audience has to say. Like, what's the community up to? Trump is but their avatar, says Mars Falcon. This is what the Republicans have been for decades. The mask just keeps slipping further and further and further. 100% true. Stuart Brooks says Margaret Hoover is a Herbert Hoover. Really? Margaret Hoover is a Herbert Hoover apologist. It's easy to be a libertarian when you're born in White House genetics. Yeah. That's interesting. Mars Falcon, Speaker of the House Hastert molested so many little boys, finally got busted trying to pay some of them off for their silence. There are hundreds, no joke, hundreds of Republican pedos arrested last decade. Yeah, look at that. Look at that article. That was number 782 that it started with. We're eyeballing the thousands, folks. We're getting into that territory. Elected officials, says Mars Falcon, not voters, representatives. Yep. Wicked Foxy Dragon says protect them from themselves. Yeah, show them what they've been supporting. Mars Falcon, soft on pedophiles was his projection. He hates the molestation to not be reciprocated from his underaged victims. Jesus Christ. Hastert. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so you have a layup there. Every time these people open their mouth about child molestation, literally go on your phone and save that link so you can pull it up in casual conversations. So you can text it to folks easily. Just be like, all right, crazy Uncle John, you want to talk about diddlers. Great, let's talk about diddlers. Look at this. Who's here? What does that tell you? Show me a similar list with the Democrats. I'm not even going to say there's no Democrats that did yada, yada, yada. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's lots. There's not 782. This is a Republican problem. And the fact that they obsess over it, the fact that they can't wait to talk about this stuff should tell you a lot about them. Every accusation by these people is a confession. They do have a conscience, and it eats at them. And it is as exhausting as it is for us to deal with these punks. Exhausting as it is to constantly have to defend democracy. It is exhausting for them to try to maintain this fictional world that they live in as more and more facts are shown to them, as more and more light gets shined on them. It's exhausting for them to keep it up. So let your energy come from the fact that you don't got to do the hard work. That's done for you. Do a couple of things that make your life easier. Do a couple of things that make these conversations mechanical. Just say, oh, yeah, this is diddler talk. Yeah. No, hold up. I did this work months ago. Here's a link I have saved. Look at that. And you win. And you win the conversation. Because even if the person says, well, this is cherry picked, they go walking away. That's going to haunt them. That is going to haunt them. Have you noticed that the insults that hurt the most are the ones that are real? We are going to win. As I say, we are. It's inevitable. And stick them hard, and we'll win faster. Now, that said, tonight is Friday Peace Talks. So I'm going to put on my most polite, I'm going to show up as my most polite self. I ask you to do the same. We're going to invite people from all over the political spectrum to show up tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure what it is in various other time zones because I can't stress enough I've only ever had to deal with one until this moment in my life. But we're going to invite people from all over, and we're going to ask them to show us pieces of media that they think we should watch. This includes you. If you got a piece of media you think we should watch, you want my take on it, you want to hear the Wicked community's take on it, bring it by. We'll have a look. That's the idea behind the show. And we are also going to fact check. You can request a fact check in the audience if you want. I'll just do it when I hear something that doesn't sound right. We will do this so that we can agree, no matter where we fall on the political spectrum, we can agree on what reality is. I believe it has the potential to be productive. Let's invite folks by. Remember, we are inviting them as guests, so we're going to be super sweet. And hit them with a charming smile. But we are going to hold them to account as well. When we inevitably get that Tucker Carlson clip, I'm going to tear it to shreds. I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. But I ain't going to lie to him. I'll be polite, as I expect you will as well. But we going to tell the truth. It's going to be fun. I hope to see you there. In the meantime, this has been WYCD Wicked, a bonus show on a Friday, because I love yous that much. I'll see you tonight at 9. My name's Jake. I almost forgot. Did anybody get Leon Chevalier's email yesterday? I just saw that as I was ending the stream. He says, contact by email. Then I realized I didn't have live chat replay on the stream, so I missed it. If anybody has Leon Chevalier's contact info somehow saved from that, for God's sake, send it to your old pal Jake at wickednetwork.com or what you can do at wickednetwork.com. Good God.